Alright. So, forewarnings and disclaimers. We are reading Inferno. Now, Inferno, Dante's Inferno, you probably heard about it before. It's quite a popular work of literature. Now, Dante's Inferno was originally wrote in, well, to be more specific, it was more composed in not Latin, but Italian, in Florence by the author Dante, as pretty obvious. I am specifically reading the Anthony Elsalin translation because that is the one that I like most. It has a lot of detail in it, that just does well. Now, like I said, this is Italian and they're in tercets, which means three lines of poetry, and then that's a sentence, and then another 3 lines of poetry, and that's a sentence. So it might be a little bit tough to understand, but I'm willing to explain it. There's also cantos, which are the chapters. There are 34 of them, and our beautiful game Ultrakill, if you didn't know, is based off that. It is based off Dante's Inferno. A lot of it. Because Dante, he puts Greek, he puts a lot into it. It's very rich. As you see, layer 1, Limbo, these are the layers of hell, if you don't know. Wrath, Heresy, except the only problem is that we only have layer 7, and we do not have layer 8, layer 9. So, prelude. Before we start, I like to say, first of all, Canto 1. Lost in the dark wood and threatened by 3 beasts, Dante is rescued by Virgil, who proposes a journey to the other world. Now, basically, Canto 1 in it is Dante getting into hell. Now, we shall start. Midway on the journey of our life, I found myself in the dark wilderness, where I had wandered from the straight and true. Now, most people would just brush this off, the first sentence saying, midway upon the journey of our life. So, but there's a lot to unpack, like we're going to be stopping repeatedly. So, midway upon the journey of my life. Now, the wilderness is, when it says midway upon the journey of life, I found myself in the dark wilderness. Dark wilderness refers to the confusion of the choices in life, not obedient to reason. And thus, because a choice is not obedient to reason, aka like, hey, I didn't do the reasonable thing, because you're not doing what's reasonable, you're not truly getting what you're happy. Think of it like getting what you need versus what you want. First, what you want will sure make you like have pleasure, but man's true happiness is from getting everything he needs, and that's like love, God, and all that. Now, continuing. How hard a thing is to tell about, the wilderness so savage, dense and hard. Even to think of it renews my fear. So basically, Dante is like, hey, I'm in this wilderness, it's so dense, it's so dark, my gosh, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna turn down the volume of this way. I'd get very loud, faster, down 50%. Shut up. It is so bitter, death is hardly more. Now that tells you a lot. It's so bitter, death is hardly more. So bitter death, but to realize the good that came inside me, I shall relate to all the things I saw. How I had entered, I cannot bring to mind. So, how we got into that forest, he doesn't know. It just happened. I was so full of sleep, just at that point. I was a little bit tired. I was so full of sleep at that point that when I first left the way of truth behind, the way of truth, remember, he's into that dark wilderness, and I represent the confusion of his choices. But right when I reached the foot of a high hill, right when the valley opened to its end, the valley that had pierced my heart with fear, I raised my eyes and saw on shores robed in the rays of wandering light of heaven. Basically, Dante's in this forest. He's like, hey, I'm in this forest now. It's a really terrible place, far from death. Very close to death, but not death. And then he walks up out of the wilderness when it opens up, and he sees this giant mountain. He looks up and he sees heaven. First of all, the mountain is purgatory, because it's the mountain of purgatory, and then above it is heaven, which the heavens are described as stars and planets. The rays of light, it leads all men to the right path. So, the rays of heaven lead all men to the right path, which is where heaven is. Because if you're seeking heaven, then you're seeking the right path. There's nothing that can go wrong if you're seeking God. So physically, you might not feel the indiscretion or anything, but you're seeking heaven. That quieted a bit the dread that I'd stirred. Trembling within the waters of my heart, all throughout the night misery I endured. So you see this great heavenly point, and he's like, wow, you know, this really helps me. It's like coping, it helps me cope. The quiet a bit dread that stirred, and as a man with labored breath drags his legs out of the water ashore, fixes his pawns upon a dangerous sea. In other words, so Dante likes to use a lot of things what are called Dante-esque similes. So like we have normal similes that are like, hey, how do I say this? It's like as hot as the sun. Stuff like that. It's a really plain and bad one, but that's just a reference. It's just a reference. So that's a very simple, but Dante-esque, he like goes on for like a whole talk. He like uses the whole sentence. He's like, how do I know? Well, the one he just used. I'm gonna kill this guy so I can read. I don't care. Oh shoot! I can punch these both. That's cool. Anyway. It says, as a man with labored breath drags his legs out of the water ashore, fixes his eyes upon the dangerous sea. So in other words, this man was like drowning, he's dying in the shore, and he's like, and he opens his eyes as he gets to the shore, and he looks upon the dangerous sea that once tried to kill him. He's like, wow, he's comparing that to when he was in this harsh forest that he randomly found himself upon, and then he sees the mountain. Anyway, so to my mind, while still a fugitive, turned back to gaze again upon that task, which never let a man escape alive. In other words, he should have not escaped that forest. When I had given my weary body rest, I struck again over the desert slope, even further, even the firmer foot than the one below. And look, just where the steeper rise began, a leopard light his foot and quick to lunge, all covering the petal flecks and spots. In other words, he's like, hey, I see this mountain. I want to climb it for some reason. And he says, now this creature, this leopard, is now in his way. This leopard is now in front of his face. In the beginning, now, who stood before my face and would not leave, but did so check me in the path I trod. I often turned to go the way I came. The hour was the morning at the break of dawn. The sun was mounting higher with those stars. The sun that shone beside him when the love divine. So, what he means here is that he sees this animal. And he's saying, hey, when I started climbing up it, it was the morning of dawn. And, yeah, in the beginning made their beauty move. And so that they would cause a hope for me to get free of the beast and flesh. So he's looking up this heaven, he sees this great heaven. He's like, this is so beautiful that, and because it's the morning, and I now start to see the stars, because, wait, not see the stars, but now it's morning, and I see this great thing, and there's this scary creature, I'm afraid of it, so I can't climb up the mountain, but I still want to. for reference, I'm a robot that's considered a weapon of war. In the beginning of the game, because I've already played this game, I didn't get to see the prologue, it says 3 lines, like how Dante does it in his terceps, remember terceps? 3 lines of poetry, that's a sentence. The 3 lines are, mankind is dead, blood is fuel, and hell is full. So in other words, I'm a scary monster that's trying to get into hell. Interesting. Okay, the waking hour in that sweet time of year, but hope was not so strong that I could stand. Bold, when a lion stepped before his eyes. So he's facing this leper, and now there's a lion. What? This one seemed to be coming straight for me. His head was high. His hunger tried. His hunger hot with wrath seemed to strike tremors in the very air. Then a she-wolf, whose spine seemed stuffed with all the man's cravings, sluggish with desires, who had made many live in wretchedness. So now he sees these 3 scary monsters. A leopard, which is interesting. You might be like, Dante, this is a very specific, I'm using these specific, this is a great piece of literature that's very deep. Everything is there for a reason. Now the leopard is identified with the sin of lust, and the lion with pride, and the wolf with avarice. In other words, remember this is all very allegorical and reading. He was in his life, he lost his way, then he sees the beauty of heaven, and he's like, hey, I need to get to this. This is exactly what I want. And then when he's climbing up, sin gets in his way. To be specific, the sin tries to attack him. Which is very interesting as well. Now anyway, back to the reading. So heavily she weighed down my spirit, pressing me by the terror of her glance. I lost all hope to gain the mountaintop. And as a gambler, okay, now, he sees his 3 monsters, and he's so scared that he doesn't want to climb the mountain anymore. He was like, the leopard, okay, now I want to get to the mountain. But then there's 3 of them, and he's like, holy, they're going to jump me. And he tries to get... Now, I'm back. I gotta do something real quick. But don't worry. I know. I heard.
I can't hear you.
Good break. Now, back to what I was saying. Now, back to the thing. Now, as he does another Dantes-esque, and as a gambler, winning with a will, happened on time, when he must lose, turns all thoughts weeping to despair. So basically, he uses the simile. He wants to climb the mountain, but then the monsters, the three beasts come, displaying sin. And he's like, he's saying that he's comparing that to the spirit level. He's comparing that allegory to the this is a scary horror map. It's like one of the scariest maps that I first got jump scared on. Basically, he's saying that, hey, why can't I press my numbers? Oh shoot! He won't let me switch any of my weapons. So like I was saying. So, he's saying that, hey, gambler, he was with the intentions to win, loses everything. That's what he's like when he saw it when climbing the mountain. Now, so I buy the relentless beast who came against me showed me back to where the sun is silent evermore. Now, while I stumbled into the deepest wood before my eyes, the form of one who seemed hoarse, having held his word so long. And when I saw him at the endless waste, mercy upon me, I cried out, whatever you are, a shade of man or truth. Now, he sees this man. He's this man who sees it, and he cries. He's like, mercy. He answered to me, no, man, I was a man. Both my parents came from Lombardy and Mantua. They called their native land. In the last days of Julius I was born, and I lived in Rome under the good Augustus. Is the time of the false and cheating gods. So, Dante sees this man walk up to him, and he's like, please, mercy, mercy. And then he's like, that doesn't mean the monster was nearby. So basically, the speaker is Virgil. Because that is what matches. That humming you hear in the game is the monster nearby. There's like a really tall, it's called something wicked comes to stay. I guess I killed him. We're not gonna do the puzzle. I'm just gonna stay in there. So, he meets Virgil, because that's what matters of the fact. I was a poet, and I sang how the son of Anchius. Basically, Aeneas, the legendary founder of Rome, that is the son of Anchius, Aeneas. So, you know, if you're dumb as heck on play video games, if you don't know, Virgil, he basically wrote the Aeneid, and I think a couple other Greek works. It's basically where you get all your Greek mythology from. It's a story of like Achilles. I don't know if Odysseus, but yeah, he basically is the main poet of Greek mythology. And then he says, "But you, why do you turn your back into such pain? Why don't you climb that hill that brings delight, the origin and the cause of every joy?" He's like, "Why not?" That's pretty self-explanatory. Then are you Virgil? And that spring swelling so rich a stream of verse? This is Dante speaking. I answer him, my forehead full of shame. My forehead so full of shame. I'm gonna die. Something wicked comes this way. Probably season. There you go. Oh shit, he's here. Oh, he's right there. Now, you look peaceful. Little lore from Ultrakill, mankind is a failure. Free will is a flaw. But the evil of their own lips consume them. I'm guessing that's sin. Then I shall begin again with my word essay. So Ultrakill is very interesting. Easy. Anyway, reading more. Honor and light of every poet, may my long study avail me, and the love that made my search the volume of your work. For Dante, he adores Virgil. That's why he's in the book in the first place. Dante wrote it. There's a story about Dante. And Dante's going to include the people he loves, he hates, and he adores. You are my teacher, my authority. You alone are the one from whom I took the star whose loveliness was honored me. See there the beast that makes me turn aside. Save me of her, O man of renowned and wise. She sets the pulses trembling in my veins. Like, save me, Virgil, save me. It is another journey you must take, replied the poet when he saw me weep. If you wish to escape this savage place, because this beast that makes you cry for help never lets any pass along her way, but checks his path until she takes his life. It's like, monster ain't folded. You're gonna have to fold Virgil. The monster ain't folded. So vicious is her nature, so ill-bent. She never stuffs her ravenous will enough. After feeding hungers all the more. So she's like, yep, the beast will eat you. And it won't stop eating. After it eats, it gets more hungry. Many a living soul takes her to the wife, and many shall until the greyhound comes. So, for explanation of what the heck that just meant, let's read it. Greyhound. Okay. Okay. So when it says here, until the greyhound comes, many a living soul takes her to wife. So, he's like, this ravenous beast. Yet many a soul takes her to wife, so many a soul will be devoured by her. And many shall, until the greyhound come, who will make her die in misery. Now the greyhound, it refers to the book of Revelation, which is a beast. It's the beast on which the whore of Babylon is on. That's the greyhound. So he's like, now, when that beast comes, he will kill her. He will bring, okay, not land, not lucre will he feed upon, but wisdom, love, and strength shall be his meat. And by cloth or felt he will be born. He will bring health to the humbled eternally. And the land in which the maid Camilla died, and the Nissus Turnus and Aurelius, Through every village he will hunt her down until he drives her back into hell, whence envy sent her loose upon the world. Now, that is also confusing as heck, so we're gonna check what that means. So, if you don't know the names of the people I just said, Nissus, Turnus, and Aurelius, they're people of the Aeneid who died in battle. Remember, Virgil wrote the Aeneid? And basically, these Italian heroes were all caught by what Virgil calls dira cupido, which means dreadful desire. Now, continuing. Through every village, and so I judge it would be best for you to follow me, and I will be your guide, leading you out through an eternal palace, where you will hear the groans of hopeless men, will look upon the sorrowing souls of the old, crying in torment for the second death. Second death refers to like damnation. In other words, he's saying, follow me into hell, and I will guide you. Then you will look upon those souls content to wait in fire, because they hope someday to come among the nation of the blessed. Now, the content to wait in fire does not refer to the souls in fire that are content, in hell that are content. It refers to the souls of purgatory. So in other words, he's like, follow me to hell, and you will see what the sorrowing of the souls in hell. You will see the suffering of the people in purgatory that are content to see heaven. You should then and come among the nation of blessed. He says, come with me, and you'll go to hell, see the torment of hell. You'll go to purgatory, see the suffering, but the hope in purgatory, and you will be among the blessed. So that's a pretty big offer. Then you will look upon these souls. Should you then wish to rise and go to them, says, another soul will come. That's Beatrice. So, for instance, for a little background, Dante is a real person. He wrote the book, no duh. Dante in his life had this woman that he loved a lot, and he considered her like, it's like, how do I say this? Beatrice was like the pure love for him. It was like, she was married, he was married, but he's always thought Beatrice was the one. It's like that one girl that you always wanted to marry, but you never got to, because, I don't know, she just got busy with someone else, and, I don't know, you didn't shoot your shot or something, or it wasn't meant to be, but you always thought of her as the best one, like the angel. So where Virgil's like, hey, come with me, you'll see the 3 package of the afterlife, and if you say yes, you'll get to see Beatrice. And he's like, what? Another soul, worthier than I, will her leave you when I go my way. For the great emperor who reigns above God, because I was rebelled to his law, will not allow me entry to his realm. So he's like, hey, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to take you to heaven. I'm going to take you to hell. I'm going to take you to purgatory. But when we get to heaven, I can't go with you. Because I can't go with you because I sinned. I'm a sinner. I can take you to hell and purgatory. But when we go to heaven, Beatrice, your imaginary love, that's now real in this book, will take the lead. For everywhere God he commands, for there he rules. There stand his city, his lofty throne. Happy the man he chooses for his house. Happy is the soul that goes to heaven. Poet, I said, I beg of you, by the same God you never knew, that I may flee this evil and worse to come. Lead me now to the place you tell of, so I may see St. Peter's gate. St. Peter's gate is the gate to purgatory. And those you say are dwelling in such misery, be set on, I held my place. Alright. Cool. Now, quick recap. In case you don't know what the heck is going on. Basically, he said Dante got lost in life. He suddenly found himself in a wilderness. He doesn't know how. Very convenient for a story. He says he tries to climb up the mountain. mountain that leads to heaven. However, he stopped him. He's like trying to get him peace because they scared him, so he runs away and he finds a man in prison. And Angel says, hey, come with me now and lead you to that heaven you want. However, because I'm leading you to that heaven you want, you're gonna see the hell. You're gonna see hell. You're gonna see heaven, you're gonna see hell, and I can't go through the heaven. Go through the heaven. I'm sorry about that, but yeah, it's a pretty good time to get. Can't go through the heaven, but come with me now, and I'll take you on a journey. Okay, and that's Conto 1. Conto 2. So, okay, I'll say Conto 2. That's pretty cool. That's pretty much what Conto 1. Ultrakill wise, Ultrakill. This is the beginning. This is prologue. But now, or down. He hated. I think it is. It is. A-rank could have gotten better. That'll be it. I think I'll do Contour 1 for this. Now, there's a lot to stay ahead, so stay for the channel. As you see, there's just the prelude, the Path of Hell, which I think is Contour 1 to 3 Dantes Inferno. Obviously, Limbo, Lust, and all this. This is going to be a lot more in-depth. Limbo especially, Lust especially. But yeah, stay for the channel. Get to that. I'm going to end